Hello again, this is James Exum coming from his home in Austin, Texas. My yogic name is Sakshi, which means the witness. It's the name I gave my soul several years ago, and will be part of the subject matter of this discourse that I've finished writing a little while ago, and I'm about to make into a video for you, and then I'll upload it to my YouTube channel. Most of my videos are on the subject of yoga philosophy. I'm an old philosopher, old yoga philosopher, yogi in fact, and have been at it for about 50 some odd years now. This one, to me, is rather personal. In my last one I mentioned I'd had some trouble with my computer over the last few days, and that's why I did not publish anything new. And there were some lessons learned during the solving of the problems having to do with that computer virus or malware or whatever it was. But I worked around it and got everything back online, fortunately. I survived that storm. It was a little rough. I lost my temper a couple of times with my beautiful little cockatoo parrot, who I've had for several years. He just turned 20 back on September 16th, and he's more patient with me than I am with him sometimes, but we're all humans and we have faults. And this is one of the reasons I wrote this. The title of this one will be Applying Ancient Wisdom to Modern Life Concerning Daily Work and Problems. Okay. And so we'll start it out. The ancient Indian scriptures, such as the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita, offer enduring guidance for approaching daily life, work, and overcoming challenges. Well, I went through some challenges solving those problems. I couldn't get into my bank, electronic bank statements, anything that had been debited out to maintain my daily balance. I couldn't get into my emails. It was just a real horror show. If you've ever had to set up a new computer, you know what I'm talking about. You've got to contact all these people with your phone numbers, and that's another thing. It affected my phone. It just affected everything. And I have a nice Android phone. It's fairly new. I bought it back in late December of last year. But it too was affected, and my ability to transfer files to my computer from these recordings I make on this phone, these videos I make on this phone. I couldn't go anywhere, and that's the reason I couldn't do any uploading. But let's get back. That's enough of my problems. But within the writing that I'm about to read to you, and I'll read a lot of it verbatim, and then I'll also do commentaries on the side. A lot of the things I discussed just a moment ago and the things I went through are involved in this writing, in this discourse. And also within this discourse, there's examples, quotes, and sources on how to deal with them and go past all of that, and even utilize some of the negative energy that comes out of these type of day-to-day problems that pop up, especially in the computer world. So here we go. Ancient Indian scriptures, such as the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita, offer enduring guidance for approaching daily work and overcoming challenges. Their teachings emphasize self-awareness, detachment, purposeful action, which remain relevant even in today's fast-paced world. The Bhagavad Gita counsels action without attachment to results. You have the right to work, but never to the fruit of the work. Never be motivated by the fruits of work. Never indulge in action for the sake of reward. That's a quote. And it came from the Gita, and that was 2nd chapter, verse 47. This principle encourages us to focus on effort and integrity in our task, rather than being consumed by anxiety, which I was consumed for about 48 hours by anxiety. Well, not 48, over a couple of days. I slept fine. I still have that ability. rather than being consumed by anxiety over the outcomes that one seeks. The Upanishads similarly teach the importance of inner stability amidst external change. And then goes to quote, the wise who knows the self as bodiless within the bodies, as unchanging amongst changing things, as great and omnipresent, does not grieve. And that's from the Katha Upanishad, 1 to verse 22. This insight invites us to cultivate witness consciousness, which is the Sakshi, the name I gave to my soul, observing our experiences with equanimity and detachment. Well, I actually abandoned a lot of the teachings I've been doing for, going on 40, 50 years now. And because I was so caught up in the problem and trying to reap the results of solving it. See, that was all backwards. I was doing it all backwards. But, I'm only human and you're only human. And I assure you, just because you are enlightened or close to being enlightened, doesn't mean that you're a saint while you're living on this earth, especially in modern times. Lord have mercy, all the things that are going on out there. Too much to keep up with, even though I am a student also of current events. Then let's go on with my reading. The Rig Veda proclaims the power of perseverance and self-effort. And then we go into a quote, let us exert ourselves with tireless energy as the gods did in ancient times to overcome obstacles. And that's from the Rig Veda 10:117.9. This encourages us to approach our daily work with dedication, resilience, and faith. Well, I never gave up my faith. I never gave up my dedication. I never gave up my resilience. I just gave up my temper. And I allowed frustration to override my logic. Together, these scriptural sources remind us that the ancient wisdom is not just theoretical, but profoundly practical. By integrating these teachings into our daily routines, acting with mindfulness, detachment, and resilience, we can transform problems into opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Now, I love the last part of that sentence. We can transform problems into opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Well, believe it or not, out of that worrisome and anxiety-ridden episode that I've just survived, I have actually created opportunities from it. It just kind of changed my whole course that I was on. I was on a pretty darn steady, level, comfortable, enjoyment course. Well, it shook me up and brought me back to reality. And out of it, believe it or not, came several other things. And one of them, I'll if you don't mind me taking a moment out from the reading, one of them was in the old days. I'm an artist, as you can tell by all my artwork in the background there. And I'll even turn this so you can see a bit more of it here and there. And there's my little workstation over there. There's my drafting table with my paints and things of that nature. And that high boy back there with the sheet on top is just full of art supplies and artwork and paper. I work mostly on paper. I do canvas also. And I work in about, I'd say anywhere from 8 to 12 different mediums. And one of the mediums I used to work in and I really enjoyed was doing engraving work, intaglio work it's called, and copper plate engraving, and lino cuts and things of that nature. Well, out of all this, while I was searching around on the internet for answers on how to solve each one of the problems I was going through, I ran across art advertisements, and one of them had to do with copper plates. And I go, well, gosh, I used to do copper plates, and I enjoyed it. And so I ordered some copper plates, and then, of course, I had to order some gravures, they call engraving implements. And then, of course, once I did that, I had to think of, well, what kind of a paper am I going to use? And then I have a nice stock of handmade paper that can be cut to the right size. And then the only thing that was missing was an engraving press. And today I looked around for that, and I found me a wonderful one at about half the price it was being advertised all elsewhere on the internet, with free shipping from California. Be arriving in a few days. And so I've got the whole setup down now. All I need are the other products you use when you're doing engraving plates, copper plates. I need the ink, I need the different solutions for washing it off. I need the blankets for the flatbed press. I need all of the things required to do copper plate engravings. So now on the side of doing these videos, I've awakened again an old love that I started out with back when I was in my 20s, late 20s, but still in my 20s. And so that'll give me one more element to work with that will keep me occupied. When you're older, and I'm older now, I'm in my mid-70s, when you're older, you need something to get up out of bed for every day. You need a project. You need things to keep the brain and the body in motion. And this is why I'm going to get back into engraving. I may even offer a few of them on the internet for sale. Who knows? They'll be limited editions. I probably won't create more than 20 of any one subject matter. And that's a true limited edition, by the way. These offers you see on the internet of 1 of 2,500, give me a flying break. 1 of 2,500. What's limited about that? Picasso generally did 250 and below. Rembrandt did the same thing. Dali got a little greedy in the end. He would just do lots and lots. But that's not my style. I like Duyer's style of engraving. I like Rembrandt's style of engraving. So I'll keep my engravings to a very low production. Very low production. I'll do a few bonitaires to fit the pool, and I'll do a few pieces to make sure that they're balanced and the inking is right, and I'll keep those in my private stock. But after that, the good ones I'll sell. Not that I need the money, but I just enjoy my contact with dealers. I enjoy my contact with buyers and getting back into the art trade. I just loved it for years and years. Okay, back to work now, back to the game. Together, these scriptural sources remind us of the ancient wisdom that is not just theoretical, but profoundly practical. By integrating these teachings into our daily routines, acting with mindfulness, detachment, and resilience, we can transform problems into opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Well, I spent about 3 minutes talking about that, didn't I? So here are some of Adi Shankara's teachings on the witness and some of my commentary. Adi Shankara, the great Advaita Vedanta philosopher, he's 8th century Common Era, offers profound insights into the nature of reality and itself. 2 concepts from his teachings, now further illuminated through myself and my commentaries, are especially relevant to dealing with daily work and problems. And these fall under the heading of applying ancient wisdom to modern life, which will be the title of this video. Yoga philosophy, the foundation, tells us that yoga, beyond being a system of physical postures, which is asana, is a comprehensive philosophy that addresses the nature of the mind, suffering, and liberation. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali emphasize practices such as self-discipline, which is tapas, self-studies, which is sadhayana, and surrender to higher principles, which is isvara pranidhana, to cultivate inner practice, inner peace, and resilience. When faced with daily works and problems, yoga philosophy encourages us to, and there's a short list here, maintain a balanced mind through regular practice, which is abhyasa, and detachment, which is vairagya. Recognize that challenges are opportunities for growth, not just obstacles to happiness, which I did, and engage in actions without attachments to outcomes, embodying the principle of karma yoga. I live by the principles of 2 of the different yogas. There's 4 major ones, and the first one is karma yoga, and the second one is jnana yoga, not necessarily in that order. Adi Shankara's teachings about the witness, which is Sakshi, and dealing with day-to-day existence. continues with the witness consciousness, which is Sakshi. Sakshi, or the witness, refers to the pure awareness that observes all experiences without being entangled in them. According to Adi Shankara, our true nature is not the body, mind, or emotions, but the unchanging witness behind all phenomena. It's like a substratum. By cultivating Saksha Bhava, the attitude of the witness, we can observe our faults, reactions, and emotions in the workplace without identifying with them. We can respond to problems with calmness and discernment rather than impulsive reactivity. Well, I was experiencing impulsive reactivity. Boy, oh boy, does that one hit home. And maintain inner stability regardless of external circumstances. Well, I struck out on 2 out of 3 of those. But I'm back, and like I said, I've got one of my old art hobbies back, which will make me more productive and keep the old brain and body going for a few more years. I have a whole new set of section of art to practice to keep my mind and my spirit young. For example, when faced with criticism or setbacks at work, instead of immediately feeling threatened or defensive, and we've all been there, we can step back and witness the arising emotions. But I always talk about emotions that appear in the mind, bypassing the intellect, but appearing in the mind, are like clouds moving across the sun or floating across the sky. Well, it's okay. They come and go, and that's how we should witness them. But remember, you are the backdrop, you are the substratum, you are the sky. And those clouds, if they're thunderous clouds, or if they're just daily summer clouds floating by, little whiffs, it's okay, because the sky, which is you, the inner self, the real you, is not affected by that. You're just a witness to them. This creates space for conscious choices and enables us to act from wisdom rather than habits. So now we're going to go into some of my philosophy. That was Shankara's, and I'm going to start on a subtopic of existence and non-attachment. I say recognize that challenges are opportunities for growth, not obstacles to happiness. And I've already reflected on how that all worked out with my computer and my Android phone problems. Engaging in actions without attachment to outcomes, embodying the principle of karma yoga. Well, I just also mentioned that jnana yoga, which is the yoga of wisdom or knowledge, and karma, which is the yoga of action, hopefully positive, are the two of the 4 guidelines in my life, guideposts in my life. The other 2 are well, I won't go sidetracking on that. Okay, but I've got 2 more there. So Shankara's teaching as a witness, back to him, the great philosopher offers profound insights into the nature of reality in itself. 2 key concepts from his teaching, especially relevant to dealing with daily work problems, and I've mentioned those already. Sakshi, or the witness, refers to pure awareness that observes all experiences without being entangled in them. According to Adi Shankara, our true nature is not the body, mind, or emotion, but the unchanging witness behind the phenomena. By cultivating Sakshi Bhava, attitude of the witness, we can observe our thoughts, reactions, emotions in the workplace without identifying with them. We should respond to problems with calmness and discernment rather than impulsive reactivity. Well, I'm being redundant there. For example, when faced with criticism or setbacks at work, instead of immediately feeling threatened or defensive, we can step back and witness the horizon. This creates space for conscious choice and aids in us to act from wisdom rather than habit. Well, again, I'm being redundant, but some ideas are of such profound importance, it's okay if I repeat them in the course of one of my discourses. And he goes on to say that the world of daily work and problems is transient and ever-changing. Well, we know that. By understanding this, we can perform our duties diligently, but without becoming overly attached to success or failure. Also, we can see problems as passing phenomena, the clouds against our sky. not as threats to our core being. So therefore, we should develop a sense of inner freedom even amidst the pressures of work, practical applications in daily life. And here's just a few on the list. So one of the things you should do is start the day with reflection. Spend a few minutes each morning in meditation or contemplation, affirming your identity as the witness and not merely the roles you play. Practice mindful awareness throughout the day. Periodically pause and observe your thoughts and emotion as a detached witness. Notice how this awareness shifts your responses to challenges. Let go of results. Remind yourself that your responsibility is to put forth your best effort, not to control every outcome. This reduces stress and increases satisfaction in your work. And see problems as teachers or teaching lessons. When difficulties arise, view them as opportunities for self-inquiry and growth, and even spontaneous returns to old artistic hobbies and production. Ask, what is this situation teaching me about my attachments or my core beliefs? Cultivate gratitude and contentment. Recognize the impermanent nature of all experiences and find contentment in the present moment, irrespective of external circumstances. In addition to the above, the Bhagavad Gita provides us profound insights on facing life's difficulties with composure and wisdom. And here's a few examples. For instance, in chapter 2, verse 14, Krishna advises, O son of Kunti, that's another name for Arjuna. Arjuna had multiple names that Krishna would call him. The non-permanent appearance of happiness and stress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed, quote unquote. This verse encourages us to accept the ebb and flow of life's challenges with patience and resilience. Again, further in chapter 6, verse 5, the Gita states, let a man lift himself by his own self alone, and let him not lower himself. For this self alone is the friend of oneself, and this self alone is the enemy of oneself. In other words, your ego and your soul, the soul is your friend, the ego can be your enemy. Here, the text emphasizes self-reliance and personal responsibility in overcoming difficulties. No truer words were ever spoken than that. In chapter 18, verse 66, Krishna reassures, quote, abandon all varieties of dharma and simply surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This guidance offers comfort, reminding us that surrendering to a higher purpose brings solace amidst life's uncertainties. Through these teachings, the Bhagavad Gita advocates for equanimity, perseverance, and faith as we navigate the inevitable problems of daily life. The conclusion, yoga philosophy and Adi Shankara's teaching on Sakshi, the witness, and existence provide a powerful framework for dealing with the demands and problems of daily work. By shifting our perspective from identification with fleeting experiences, and those things that happened to me over that 48-hour period turned out to be fleeting experiences. I always say in my closings, and this too shall pass, or that too shall pass. So with fleeting experiences to abiding as the unchanging witness, you need to live in the state of the unchanging witness. He's not bothered, he's not attached, he doesn't get upset, he's just the witness. And in fulfillment, in embracing these ancient insights, we discover that true freedom and resilience are not found in changing our circumstances. Circumstances will change you, I promise you. But in transforming our relationship with them into something productive and positive. And there endeth the lesson. Well, that wasn't so bad, was it? I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, that's wonderful. If you didn't, that's okay too. And so I will close with these words. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and be good to strangers even. Especially to strangers, you never know. That might be a new friend smiling at you. And also, don't let current events get you down too much. This too shall pass. And when it does, we'll be back to a world of normalcy. I know that. I've been through a lot of these things in my life that are happening down before during different administrations. I'm not going to get into the politics or the economics that we're dealing with, but it's not an easy course at this moment in time, but it'll get better. I assure you it will. This too shall pass. And if you get a chance, share my videos with others. And if you don't feel like doing it, again, that's okay too. But I enjoyed visiting with you, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me explain to you what's been going on in my personal life, which helped me to create this discourse so I could spread all this ancient knowledge with you, and hopefully you can adopt some of that into your life and use it as guidelines for yourself. Well, again, goodbye, and thank you so much.